In the movie Black Panther, the Wakandans were all focused on Ulysses Claw as their top and most hated enemy of the state. Then, with the explosive events of the MCU movies that followed, we kind of got obsessed with Thanos and only Thanos. So much so that when the time came, it took me a few moments to remember, to realize that Wakandans actually have another enemy of the state, Helmut Zemo, the person who caused the death of their king T'Chaka. The MCU has grown to such huge proportions with such intricate storylines spanning decades and continents and galaxies that it is both exciting and sometimes confusing. Hello, namaskar, welcome, swagatam. No, this video is not about Black Panther, nor strictly speaking is it about Wakanda. I am talking about the latest episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier named The Power Broker. Before we begin, here is a spoiler warning. I'll not be going scene by scene, but I will talk about some key points of the episodes aired so far, which if you aren't following the show, you wouldn't want spoiled. While we are on the subject of following, it would mean a lot if you follow me on social media or join my Discord server. And please do subscribe to my channel, The Versatile Doctor, by clicking this subscribe button down there. Your support is what makes these videos possible. With that, let's dive right into what I consider the weirdest episode out of the three in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Don't get me wrong, the episode 3 is great. It is funny and filled with action and callbacks and one not so gratuitous cameo, but it is still weird. I say so because of the tone of the episode. It feels like a different genre altogether from the previous episodes. Even with the same director, Carice Cogland, the third episode kind of feels like an action comedy, not the action thriller that I had come to expect. On the brink of being too light for my taste. We knew from the previous episode's end that Bucky and Sam have gone to see Helmut Zemo. So obviously this episode, the episode 3, begins with a dialogue between Bucky and Zemo. That conversation will remind you of the time when Thor came to visit Loki in his prison cell back in Thor the Dark World.
You must be truly desperate to come to me for help.
And Zemo is now true to his comic book character, meaning he's actually a baron with the purple mask and thankfully without the sword, but being a baron, he is rich with a jet and a butler. I mean, I get that he had to have a jet, but was the butler really necessary? Anyway, so Baron Zemo is now the bad guy turned good guy who is predictably unpredictable and no one knows what his ultimate motive is. He would, in the coming episodes, show his true villainous colors, I'm sure. To expect anything else is folly. I take offense in how easy it was for Bucky to spring Zemo out of his prison in Berlin. How would Bucky get the resources to do such a thing? In fact, my mind couldn't fathom how Bucky and Sam were able to actually gain access to meet Zemo in the first place. This episode chooses comedy over substance to gloss over the practicality of getting Zemo out of that Supermax prison. Then we are introduced to Madripoor, the fictional Southeast Asian island nation. As soon as the name Madripoor was mentioned in the episode, it sparkled a million discussions on a million forums. Is this the long-awaited link to the X-Men universe? You see, Madripoor is well known in the Marvel comics to be linked with Wolverine and his nemesis Viper. Viper used to be Madripoor's ruler at one point and Wolverine its savior. Madripoor, shown in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, is depicted quite well. Although we don't clearly see both the high town and the low town and that contrast in details, but the lawlessness and the economic prosperity of the region is well established. Also somewhat established is Hindi. In the comics, the official religion of Madripoor is Hinduism, which should explain why there is one weird signboard in Hindi popping up at multiple places in the episode. The sign reads Sharir Samvardhan, which roughly translates to body augmentation. It may be something sinister as a physical enhancement, or may even be something simple like plastic surgery or body piercings. Both of these terms also appear on these signboards. I wonder where that is just a production design decision or actually some kind of an Easter egg. But all that is moot. Because with the tease and the ultimate disappointment of seeing Evan Peters cast as fake Quicksilver in WandaVision, I'm sure that any indirect or far-fetched links to the X-Men universe or Fantastic Four that we see in one of these Marvel shows, it's likely to just be a tease and not actually anything concrete to link these universes. Leaving that aside, we meet Sharon.
Is you ready?
Here we go again, huh?
We've been grinding hard on the job. Can't take that from us.
Who is on the run ever since Captain America Civil War, when she stole Cap's shield and Falcon's wings, and she has prospered in Madripoor. We also meet the engineer of the batch of super soldier serum. He is working for the power broker. We actually never see the power broker in this episode, which is titled The Power Broker. And while a lot is going on in Madripoor, Carly Morgenthau, the female lead of the Flag Smashers, is having her personal human moment with someone who is dying of tuberculosis because the Global Repatriation Council isn't providing the required medicine or something. This is getting flimsier by the episode. Among the people who reappeared after Thanos' snap was reversed, some have to live in refugee camps or displacement camps because they don't have their old life, their old jobs. The Flag Smashers want to get justice and proper care for these people. In a way, Flag Smashers are Robin Hoods. However, what the Flag Smashers' agenda was before the snap reversal, I still can't understand. I think one of the future episodes will feature Carly's real backstory, which should explain why she suddenly became a ruthless killer, killing innocents. We also see a glimpse of the new Captain America, John Walker, in this episode, who for one brief moment became the extreme opposite of the person episode 2 had projected him to be. In my last video, I said episode 2 made it very difficult to dislike the new Captain America. Well, now we are getting back to disliking him. Honestly, the most engaging parts of this episode were the back and forth between Zemo, Sam and Bucky, and as far as the action is concerned, the short scene where Bucky becomes the Winter Soldier once again, that was much more impactful. Unlike the action scene towards the end of the episode where a bunch of goons come after Zemo, Bucky and Sam and Sharon. They are supposedly top mercs, but they are soundly and easily defeated and instantly killed. The comedy is mostly well placed in this episode, but sometimes excessive and without making any sense. Especially in the middle of the firefight when Sam and Bucky are arguing with each other. That doesn't make any sense. Which brings me to the end of this episode with that Wakanda reference that I was talking about in the beginning of this video. As it stands, the 3 episodes that have aired so far in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier have only been good. Nothing really MCU level. And we are already halfway through this 6-episode miniseries. There is something intense coming up in the future 3 episodes. I am sure about it. I can feel it. What do you think? Do let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Did you like this episode? Do you agree with my opinions? And what are your thoughts towards the future of this series? As always, I am eagerly looking forward to your feedback and comments. This is all from my side for today. I'll be back with my thoughts on the next episode. Stay tuned with me till then. This is Dr. Abhinav Atul signing off, and it is my pride and privilege to be able to connect with you through this video. Namaskar. While you're still on YouTube, how about you check out this video which YouTube thinks you would like, or check out my WandaVision series discussion.